Your soulmate found out how you really felt. They are now unable to avoid them. Before another second passes, listen with all of your heart, my darling child, because something amazing has already started to happen behind the scenes. The truth you worked so hard to conceal has been revealed to your love. You thought the emotions were unseen. The feelings you concealed with silence. The hope that no one would ever notice. Somehow, without saying a word, it got to them. They didn't learn it from someone else's voice, a confession, or a message. They sensed it. In the quiet times when your energy came into contact with them in ways that neither of you could articulate, they knew it. Nothing has stayed the same inside them since that knowledge. Don't skip because they didn't anticipate what transpired when they discovered your actual sentiments. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. They made an effort to persuade themselves that it was just their imagination. They reiterated that they should disregard the odd pull that was getting stronger by the hour. However, each attempt to leave only served to deepen their emotional bond. Every diversion was unsuccessful. Every discussion I had with other people felt meaningless. As soon as they were by themselves once more, every smile they shared with the world gradually vanished. Pretending is no longer effective at this point, and what they are going to do could drastically alter the situation. They were totally unprepared for something that happened fairly recently. They discovered a tiny reminder of you, something unremarkable that ought to have had no significance at all. However, their heartbeat altered as soon as they noticed it. Suddenly, memories they had suppressed came flooding back, demanding to remain concealed. All of a sudden, they recalled conversations, small moments, forgotten smiles, and silent exchanges that had previously seemed pointless but now had a completely different significance. They knew for the first time that you had never been far from their hearts. Without permission, you had subtly joined in. They realized they could no longer regulate their emotions, which scared them. They even asked themselves why your presence seemed more powerful than anyone else's. There was silence and an overwhelming sense that they could not remain away for much longer, yet there was no response. They were even more astonished by the following revelation, so don't skip it. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. The link gets stronger rather than weaker with each passing hour. They are starting to realize that it is getting harder to ignore this connection. They can't help but feel that time is running out and that if they wait too long, they would miss the chance that they didn't realize was so important. They never thought they would go through another secret chapter. One after another, they have begun to notice odd coincidences. Unexpectedly, your name appears. They are unexpectedly reminded of you in familiar settings. At the perfect moment, songs they haven't heard in years start to play. Somehow, even casual conversations bring you back to mind. They initially dismissed these moments as insignificant mishaps. However, they stopped laughing when the same pattern kept happening. Rather, they fell unnaturally silent. They came to terms with something they had been fighting for far too long. It is no longer simple to avoid the truth. Your soulmate now understands that your emotions were sincere from the beginning. They can no longer suppress the feelings that have been aroused by that awareness. They are on the verge of making a choice that could permanently alter your lives. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. What they are getting ready to do next is not a small step, so something enormous is in store for you. It's the first step toward ending the silence that has separated their hearts. And when they do take action, everything you thought was impossible can start to happen more quickly than either of you could have predicted. Your partner has discreetly come to a new knowledge that is considerably more potent than anything they have ever encountered. Another reality that they had been concealing from their own hearts all along surfaced when they acknowledged that your feelings were genuine. All of their justifications abruptly collapsed. All of the justifications they offered for maintaining their distance were no longer valid. They have begun to relive every moment they spent with you in an attempt to find the clues they previously missed. They can now be seen everywhere. Your words were really kind. The quiet that screamed louder than words. The way you managed to be unforgettable despite never forcing anything. This is just the beginning, so don't skip. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. They are starting to understand that your relationship is never typical. They can no longer wake up without wondering what you are doing or conclude the day without thinking about you. They are restless because it is hard to go back to the previous state of affairs after discovering such a profound truth. Everything was altered once more by an unforeseen event. Their thoughts abruptly returned to you, even if everyone else thought they were totally preoccupied with their everyday lives. A recollection they hadn't considered in a long time utterly distracted them, causing them to pause in the middle of a routine work. The emotion evoked by that one recollection was so strong that they were unable to ignore what had been developing within them. They even noticed that they were grinning without understanding why. That smile quickly changed to one of worry. They began posing challenging queries to themselves. What would happen if they waited too long? What if you think they've lost interest? What if a distance that didn't need to exist was created by silence? These inquiries won't go away. Each response pointed in the same way. You don't skip because behind the scenes, something even more unexpected is taking place. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. The walls they built for so long are starting to crumble. And the fear that once prevented them from reaching out grows weaker with each hour that goes by. They are just now starting to grasp one last reality. The connection between you was never destroyed by distance. What was subtly developing beneath the surface was never weakened by time. Rather, the connection became more apparent with each day spent apart. Deep down, they already know where their heart wants to go, so they are no longer trying to persuade themselves to move on. Because of this, you could soon notice subtle changes before anything is said out loud. It will become impossible to avoid their attention. They will subtly become more interested in your life. What their words haven't had the guts to convey yet will start to come through in their actions. They can sense that the quiet between you is coming to an end. They can't shake the feeling that one more day of waiting is too much. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. The next action they are planning is not motivated by impulse, thus something enormous is waiting for you. It is motivated by the conviction that realizing your true emotions has permanently altered them. And there might be no going back after that initial action is taken. The silence that once shielded your soulmate has now turned into their greatest fear, my dear child. They are aware that something inside of them is screaming to be heard, so each quiet day feels heavier than the last. They've come to the point where it takes more effort to pretend everything is normal than it does to just follow their emotions. It's not how much they love you that surprises them the most. Every time they attempt to envision a future without you, it is how unattainable life seems. Don't skip because even they were taken aback by what transpired next. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. They've noticed that every strategy they come up with somehow brings you to mind. A place where you naturally belong is a part of every dream about the future. This was not what they had planned. However, the reality has subtly altered all of their prior expectations. The pull gets stronger as they get closer to adopting it. And they are starting to realize that opposing it would simply lead to more unanswerable questions. Unbeknownst to them, they have started getting ready for a moment they thought would never come. In an attempt to discover the ideal way to convey what they have kept hidden, they have imagined having many talks with you while mentally repeating various terms. They sometimes imagine you grinning. They occasionally worry that you might have moved on. They are always accompanied by that uncertainty. It manifests in peaceful mornings, hectic afternoons, and long nights when falling asleep is difficult. They question whether a door they have been too scared to enter has already been opened by destiny. They are aware that they cannot hold on to these emotions indefinitely. The weight is now too much. Another significant revelation is currently taking place, so don't miss it. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. Every day that goes by offers them more motivation to come out of hiding and serves as a reminder that sincere emotions only intensify when they are eventually acknowledged rather than disregarded. Now, neither of you is aware that the time is getting closer. Your soulmate no longer questions the validity of the connection. In their hearts, they already know the answer to that question. When they will finally let their behavior align with what they already know is the sole unanswered question. They sense that life is subtly crafting the ideal opportunity, a conversation, an unforeseen meeting, or a straightforward moment that has the power to permanently alter everything. They know deep down that they can't continue to move on from someone who has become unforgettable. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. Your soulmate is getting closer than ever to ending the stillness that has separated you, and the next chapter has already begun behind the scenes, so something enormous is waiting for you. When that time comes, you might see that they have been amassing the strength to take the most significant emotional step of their lives while you thought nothing was occurring. Your soulmate has finally stopped avoiding it, my dear child, and it is influencing every choice they make. They had long thought that being apart would make them feel less emotional, but this was not the case. Your absence just deepened the significance of your presence each day. They have begun to realize that hectic schedules, packed rooms, and never-ending diversions were never the source of the tranquility they had been seeking. It only showed up during the quiet times when unexpected thoughts of you came back. Another unexpected reality is going to emerge, so don't miss it. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. They are no longer debating whether or not to hold you close to their hearts. They didn't even realize they had made that choice a long time ago. They are now posing an entirely different question to themselves. How much longer can they keep quiet before the chance is lost forever? Behind the scenes, a gradual change has already started. Your partner is more conscious than ever of the signs that surround them. They are abruptly reminded of you throughout conversations. Because people envision what it would be like if you were standing next to them, familiar settings feel different. Ordinary moments have begun to take on extraordinary significance. They can no longer ignore the emotions they once regarded as fleeting. Every time they try to proceed without acknowledging you, they feel unfulfilled. They've come to the point when regret is more terrifying than honesty. They are getting ready for something that nobody is aware of, so don't miss it. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. Quietly, their heart is regaining the bravery it formerly lacked. And as time goes on, their dread of losing you surpasses their anxiety of expressing their true emotions. Right now, both of you are unable to completely perceive the moment that is approaching. Your sweetheart is aware that realizing your true emotions altered much more than a single idea. Their heart's course was altered. They no longer regard you as someone they just happened to meet or as someone from the past. They believe that you are the one who will continue to influence their future. It is now impossible to ignore that realization. They won't be confused or unsure about what to do next. It will result from their realization of what their hearts have been trying to tell them all along. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. There is something enormous in store for you. With each day that goes by, the gap between you gets smaller. When it eventually breaks, you might find that your soulmate has been holding a single, transformative truth, just waiting for the right opportunity to give it to you. My dear kid, something inside your soulmate woke up that would never go back to sleep the moment they acknowledged the reality of your emotions. They no longer question the validity of this link when they wake up. When they wake up, they wonder how long they can continue to act as though it doesn't matter. Somehow, you are at the center of every route they take. Every peaceful moment serves as a reminder that their heart has already made a decision. Don't skip this since the current events are significantly more significant than coincidence. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. They've noticed that your memory comes back stronger each time they attempt to ignore it. It is no longer a fleeting idea. It now follows them everywhere they go and is a constant presence. They are starting to realize that certain relationships are meant to last a lifetime. Their perspective on the future has been drastically altered by yet another unanticipated insight. They used to think that there would always be another occasion to speak, another season, another chance. They are less certain now. They have begun to sense that life is subtly telling them to stop waiting and start paying attention to what their hearts have been telling them all along. Little things have grown into potent reminders that the future is unpredictable. Each delay seems more burdensome than the previous one. Every unresolved emotion adds another level of regret. The next discovery is the one they never anticipated, so don't skip it. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. They've come to the point where being honest hurts far less than remaining silent. Hope has grown louder, despite the fact that fear still lingers in their thoughts. For the first time in a long time, they are speculating about what would occur if they finally let their hearts guide them rather than their doubts. The last barrier is now starting to come down. Your soulmate is finding the bravery they thought they would never have. They are beginning to see that perfect timing might just be the moment they choose to stop holding back, so they are no longer looking for it. The tie between you has not been destroyed by your remoteness from one another. It has only shown how profoundly it is. They are getting closer to it, and when it does break, you might realize that finding each other was never the goal of this journey. It was about having the guts to reveal the truth at last. The waiting is different now, my dear child. Your partner has undergone such a profound change that even they are unable to identify who they once were. Every attempt to avoid the reality has only made them closer to you, so they have given up fighting it. What their minds had been doubting for so long has finally been accepted by their hearts. Don't miss it, because the next few moments will reveal something they never thought they would. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. They are starting to realize that some people come into your life for reasons that defy rational explanation. You've turned into that cause. Without wondering where you are, how you are feeling, and whether fate is subtly preparing for the day when your paths ultimately intersect again, every typical day feels unfinished. They had recently discovered that they were motionless while everything around them kept moving. Even though it was a fleeting moment, everything was altered. They came to the realization that they were no longer scared to love you. They were terrified of keeping it from you. They kept hearing that one thought over and over until they could no longer ignore it. They pictured what life might be like in the future if they gave in to dread. Rather of bringing them serenity, the image made them feel remorse. At that moment, they silently vowed to themselves. Their future would no longer be determined by uncertainty. Another significant change is already taking place behind the scenes, so don't miss it. There's a big thing waiting for you, so stay until the very end. Every day that goes by is bolstering their resolve, and every recollection of you serves as more motivation to keep going rather than staying silent. The plot is now getting close to the point where everything has been building. Your actual sentiments are no longer a mystery to your partner. They consider them to be the best gift they could have ever imagined. They now have a new sort of courage that gets stronger every day because they know your heart. The force of the distance between you is waning. The stillness is fading. The doubts that used to dictate every choice are gradually disappearing. They are replaced by a heart that is at last prepared to take the first significant step. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. The next chapter won't be based on unresolved issues or hidden feelings, so something enormous is in store for you. Your love will have to make a decision that they can no longer put off. A decision to finally step toward the connection that has been beckoning to both of your hearts all along, to stop observing from a distance, and to stop hiding behind fear.